Well, good morning, everybody. How you doing here? Welcome back to Chicago. We made it. Yeah, I've been back all weekend here. I've been pretty lazy, enjoying the break here before we start up again here. We got all kinds of things coming up this fall. Of course, the marathon's coming up in a few weeks. Chicago Marathon. Cubs are in the playoffs. Bears beat the Raiders yesterday. That was nice. Ava, how you doing there? Jessica, good morning. Thanks for tuning in there. Thanks for being up early here. Welcome to Lincoln Park here. Yeah, we're at Clark and Fullerton, so we're back. Yeah, Clark and Fullerton. I guess the sun, we'll see some sunrises probably later this week. I guess the sun's rising at 6:45, which is perfect for us walking in. Usually this time of the year, it's a good time to see the sunrise. Angie, how you doing there? Grace, Ryan, Katie, Kathy Phillips. Good morning there. Nisi G, good morning. How you doing there? Krista, Izzy, is the resolution okay? I'm just using the YouTube app. I'm going to give the YouTube app a try this week. We'll see how it works. I think it's better with the comments than Streamlabs. Streamlabs, we've been having that issue where comments work and then all of a sudden they don't. So we're still getting used to YouTube here. But hey, thanks for tuning in on YouTube. See, I'm still posting. I'm still trying to find a way to I don't know how to use TikTok going forward here. I've been kicked out of the Creator Fund, so you know, we got a good community there. I want to stay connected to our TikTok audience. I told people to cancel their subscriptions on TikTok. You know, it's so the TikTok's not letting me do subscriptions now either. So I think if you had a subscription, which not many people did left, I don't think you have to pay anymore. So there you go. It solves that problem. Just make sure TikTok's not still charging you for subscriptions, because I'm not getting any money from subscriptions, so you shouldn't be paying a subscription for mine on TikTok. They'll do that when and sometimes it's an oversight. On my first account, when I got permanently deleted there, they were still charging people for subscriptions even though I didn't have an account. Isn't that amazing? Here's Cleveland Street here, Chicago. We usually start and end our lives here walking to work with the nice housing here. The Twin Sisters, are nice yards here. But hey, good morning there. You bought a 1 year. Thanks, Nisi G. Appreciate it. Well, I hope you bought it on YouTube, right? As long as you bought it on YouTube, you're fine. I appreciate that. That's where we're at. You see why I gotta move on over here to YouTube for my live streaming, because the terms and conditions, they kicked me out of the Creator Fund. We knew it was going to happen. I'm not sure I'm not the only one. They don't like the music videos that I make where I time it to music. I think that's what's causing the problems. Wes, how you doing there? Yeah, we're back. Naya, how you doing there? Naya Papaya, I know who you are. Yeah, I was getting you confused there, but yeah, I know people got different names on YouTube than TikTok, which is good. Naya Papaya, that's a good way to remember it there. Nice rhyming of the words there. There's the nice porches here, Cleveland Street. Unruly Julie Reed, how you doing there? Good morning. Yeah, CJ's mommy. Hey, we're back here. We're streaming clear of the rear. We keep this thing going on YouTube. But I saw, a lot of the Chicago live streamers still been streaming on TikTok, which is great. I still use it as a backup. But hey, how about the Bears beating the Raiders? That was a close game. Bears barely went ahead, missed a 2-point conversion. Raiders had a chance to win the game with a last-second field goal attempt, but it was blocked. Blackman blocked it there. Defense for the Bears came through, special teams especially, and say the Bears got a 2-2 record, much better than they started. Lost their first two, but They've redeemed themselves. Miguel, how you doing there? Yeah. Watch my back. Well, what I'm interested in seeing, I saw on the news last night, I guess there's a bunch of armed military type personnel on the Michigan Avenue now. So we'll see if we encounter that. Um, from my perspective, I can't win either way. Either people are like, oh, crime's so bad, I'm not going to make it to work. I'm going to get mugged on the way to work. Or they'll taunt me about the National Guard or something. So either way, I'm going to get taunted, and I'm used to it walking in this city. So, hey, welcome back to Chicago. Welcome to Cleveland Street here, par for the course. Speaking of par for the course, I guess the Ryder Cup, the golf tournament, and another branding thing here. If we wouldn't pay attention to it, it wouldn't matter. But I guess the European won against the European team won against the Americans, the Ryder Cup. I guess the Rory McIlroy incident, they were heckling his wife and heckling Rory, but he still won through the battlefield of competition there and helped his team win. So, and really fan behavior. See, and really Julie Reed, they were unruly fans there at the Ryder Cup. Right here, Cleveland Street, Lincoln Park, Chicago here. Yeah. How's it going there? Mazza Maxon. Am I saying your name right? Tony Michaels podcast. Chasing guy on the bike, he evades him. Yeah, we'll look for that. Play by play. Yeah. Lambie T. Really Juliet Stewart. We got beautiful weather though. It's mid 60s. I think we're supposed to get up to 80. The forecast for the entire week looks spectacular. Mostly upper 70s, sunshine. And looks like those two hurricanes in the Atlantic are not going to make landfall. They're just going to go back out into the Atlantic, which is great for the eastern seaboard. We were just there at Wilmington. I'm sure you saw those rebuns there from the beach. That was nice. Here we're at where are we at here? Cleveland and Webster Street. Cleveland and Webster, Lincoln Park, Chicago. It's good to be back. We got the whole spooky season ahead of us here. I could have went to the zoo for the Fall Fest. I'm sure we'll run into that later this week. Yeah. Anne-Marie, Teresa B. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. Hubert, thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, we'll see what the new stores are. They're opening any stores there on the Mag Mile. Yeah, when I was flying back, we flew into O'Hare there on Friday. The nice women I was sitting with on the plane there, they were like, they saw my Cubs hat. They said, "Are you from you live in Chicago?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "How's the crime?" And it was the first question because they're from the exurbs. They were, somebody was picking them up. Hey, we got some Halloween decorations. So hey, people probably took advantage of the nice weather, even though it's the end of September here. We're getting close enough to Halloween here. Usually in October we enjoy so much checking out the Halloween decorations, so we hope to continue that there. This is the way it usually is early in the morning, especially in the wintertime. People are like, where's everybody at? This is a wealthy bedroom community. Most of these people, I don't know if they necessarily have an office you have to go to. Mainly, probably, hey, they're just making money off the stock market going up. Here's the flamingos here. There, they got some Halloween decorations there. You got some skulls going up here. So, hey, we're finally, I see some pumpkins. Yeah, so we're seeing some nice fall decorations. Finally starting to take shape there. Rob, how you doing there? Yeah. I'll be iron like a lion and Zion like Steve Lyon. That's good. Thanks. Thanks for being a fan there. Maza Mexon. Uzbekistan. Yeah, thanks for tuning in from Uzbekistan. That's great people tuning in from all over the world. And this is Chicago. Here's our little murals, the happy animals there, the elephant balancing on the cheese and the onion. The carnival foods here, the six-way intersection. Yeah. Lincoln Dickens and Cleveland here. Here's the Gemini. Not this Gemini. You can watch this Gemini on YouTube. This restaurant here. That's a cute dog here. Yeah, it wasn't a vacation. It was a work trip. But you know, you can call it a vacation there. That's why I made a point to at least see something there. When I was in North Carolina, we were working pretty much all week, and yeah, we got to see Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach just for the after work. One day I ran over there, caught the sunset. But hey, thanks for checking out those reruns. There's the carnival across the street here. Here comes the guy on the scooter there. There's the Danucci's there. Yeah, they used to have. They took that completely off there. Huh. There used to be a side to that building that's completely gone. They used to have skeletons there, but here we'll keep going down Cleveland Street there. O-Block, we're still talking about O-Block. I know O-Block's huge in the consciousness of the drill hip-hop community. 15 years ago, Odie Perry was murdered. The rival gangs that disputed that area, you know, it's Parkway Gardens is privately managed housing development there. From my perspective, I don't live down there. I've got videos down there. We get questions all the time. There's other areas of the city that are just as dangerous, if not more dangerous than O-Block. It's just whatever's in the public consciousness. 63rd and Martin Luther King there. You can go to the west side. You go to Madison, West Garfield Park. Kind of crazy, you know, disputed areas as well. You know, people gloomily ask me to go there. You know, you're asking me, someone that lives in the yuppie areas of the north side, to go to an area that's, you know, rival territory. There are still real gangs in Chicago. You know, how can we be the crime so bad and then people are, you know, it's almost like a test of you know, how brave you are to go to certain areas of the city. I try not to get into this contest. You could do it in all other cities, New York, Los Angeles. I've seen people ride their electric bikes to areas of Los Angeles that are very hard to walk through. And thanks for understanding here. We'll go over heading to work. I'm just walking to work. This is my commute to work. How you doing? Yeah, Michael's tuning in. Michael Anderson there. Ernie's tuning in. Ernie, hope you had a good weekend there. Ernie's been live streaming much more than I have been lately. Been taking it easy here, but hey, we'll cross Armitage here. Here's where we saw the Chicago Hinge a year ago. I know we just missed it this week. I was traveling. The sun's rising right now over Lake Michigan. We'll probably catch it later this week. I just thought I'd start walking down through the neighborhood here. Yeah, thanks everybody there. Oh, okay, good. I'll check my direct messages there. Yeah, sorry I missed it there for you sent me earlier this morning. Hey, we got some Halloween decorations here, Cleveland Street. Hey, we got 90 people tuning in this early on Monday morning. That's good. Hope to get back in my regular schedule here. And if you're new to my channel here, I'm Brian Really Chicago. Usually for the past 2 years, morning and night, we've been walking on TikTok. Lunchtime, I've been doing the lunch walks here on YouTube. Probably Wednesday, there might be a bridge lift. And how you doing? Look at these beautiful mums. Yeah, people got the fall planting out in the medians here, putting up Halloween decorations. But yeah, the Cubs start the postseason this week against the Padres. It'll be 3 afternoon home games there. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 in the afternoon. Maybe one of those days, depending on how my work goes, we might take the afternoon off, not to go in the game, just to walk around up there, feel the vibe. I won't do it all 3 days because it would get repetitive, but at least something's going on. And yeah, that Bears win over the Raiders. Bears fans, hopefully something's going to happen this season. This won't be a total loss. And hey, they got some inflatables on the roof there. We'll start switching into Halloween season here. We got the marathon coming up. I think the marathon's not for 2 weeks. Seems later this year than usual. I don't know why. Hey, taco jalapeno salsa, how you doing there? The rent, yeah, rent's expensive. Rent's going up, up, up. Everybody likes the stock market going up, and nobody likes the rent going up. Housing prices. You can't have one without the other. They say 2.9% inflation's good. 2.9% inflation's not good. We're like frogs being boiled in the water there. We're food inflation, travel inflation, housing inflation. I thought this carnage was supposed to end, right? Oh, I'm joking. Here we're crossing Wisconsin Street. Hey, there's the squirrel. How you doing there, squirrel? Yeah. Indiana Fever. Hey, there we go. So, yeah, we got the WNBA there. Even without Caitlin Clark there. That's good there. I know they beat up on the Chicago Sky a few times this year. WNBA rivalry there. That's good. So, hey, we'll keep one eye on that. Got plenty of sports to talk about. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks, Taco, for the good information. I think that's tomorrow. I think tomorrow the Cubs play the Padres 2 p.m. around there, just after 2 p.m. on Tuesday. I think that's right. Today's Monday, right? But it'll be here soon enough. There, Cleveland Street. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the good information there. Yeah, the White Sox. They did win their last game. They won their last game there against the Washington Nationals. But yeah, I think the White Sox lost over 100 games. Hey, there's some Halloween decorations here. Yeah, look at that. So hey, is it coming in okay? We got some skeletons, a little ghost. My favorite, the spiders. Got the spiders. There's a doctor. The plague. Yeah, we got some spider webs. Yeah, thanks, Michael. Thanks for letting people know. So yeah, there's different tiers of quality for YouTube, and it depends on your end. You can control. So if it's too high resolution, it'll buffer. If it's too low, it'll be blurry, and you got to find the medium there. I'm hoping YouTube's finally starting to invest more in live streaming. It seems like they are. Finally, 2 years ago, live streaming, it was really hard to live stream on YouTube. The YouTube app was crap, the resolution, but it's getting better. I've been using Streamlabs, which helps with the resolution, but then we run into the other problem with the comments. So I'm using the app now. Let me know how it goes. We'll try the app as much as possible. It's probably best for me to use the platform's own app, because there's probably stuff I'm missing out, monetization and stuff. I didn't click the monetization, so sometimes if I click the monetization, you can see an ad, like a side-by-side ad during my live stream. I didn't click that on this morning, but we might try it later this week. experiment with it, see if it affects anything. But here, welcome to the edge of Lincoln Park here, Menominee and Cleveland. We're heading to work here on a Monday morning here. We got September the 29th, 2025. We got a beautiful 65-degree morning. Yeah, let's head past the Midwest Buddhist Temple here. Good way to start the morning back in Chicago, heading to work. We'll eventually get to Michigan Avenue, see if there's armed guards escorting us to work here. Yeah, how you doing there, squirrel? What do you say? Says, let me alone here. Yeah, Canada's tuning in there. You dug out a skeleton. Michael's unearthing archaeological sites. Oh, relics there. Wow. Yeah, Lincoln Park street layout. Yeah, the trees are nice. Yeah, see, you get these like the Schmitz-Gary building here, the Midwest Buddhist Center here. What do we got? We're about 7 a.m. Chicago time. Yeah, look at the Schmitz-Gary building. And here, the Midwest Buddhist Temple. Hudson and Menominee. There it is. There used to be a German butcher here. Here it is, Schmitz-Gary here. Look at that. See how it has the little crest there? It has the little 1903. It says 1903. We think it was a butcher shop. And there you see the steeple of St. Michael's, which is a block south of us there on Eugenie. We're on Menominee. Here's the Midwest Buddhist Temple here. And the Ogden Avenue used to run through at an angle. That's what freed up this land for, this was built later along with this park. And we got reruns of all this. Hey, there's a bike taxi. Early in the morning, there's a bike taxi. Wow. So here, we'll head over to Sedgwick. We'll head by the CTA train tracks there. And we'll head in the backside of Old Town here. Construction work, that's good. 5 a.m. Thanks for turning in early here. Yeah, let's head down past the flags here. We'll go down Fern Court behind the... Do they have a stage there? Looks like they got a stage or some... No, it's just a shelter there on the side for the parking. But Fern Court, this mid-block street. Look how you can see the top of the Sears Tower. That's the top of the Sears Tower, about 3 miles south of us. Fern Court here, backside of Old Town. Yeah, thanks for the time and temperature there. Carla, regular guy. Frederick, yeah. Florida's tuning in there, Tree, that's good. So hey, if you just tune in here, welcome to Chicago here. We're on Fern Court here, heading to work on a beautiful 65-degree morning here. Here comes the car here, so we'll get off the street here. Willow, this is Willow and Fern Court. Look how they built on top of these coach houses in the back. There's Hudson Street. I like the flags and the garages and how they have sidewalks on this alley, which make it like a street. There, Northwestern Illini, Wisconsin. John is tuning in. Chris is tuning in there. Yeah, good morning, everybody. How you doing there? We're back. Thanks for tuning in here. We'll try to get back to our regularly scheduled programming schedule. Just in time. The Cubs are in the playoffs. And we got the whole Halloween spooky season ahead of us. We're already starting to see Halloween decorations here. We're still at the end of September. There, the United Nations flag. There's the Chicago flag. Hey, look at the nice roof terraces they got here. So you get the porch above the garage. Everything's tucked in. Snug as a bug here. Fern Court. Yeah, Shauna. Yeah, thank you. Maybe we'll keep this show. The show that never ends. Thanks for letting me take. People thought I was on vacation last week. I was working on the road there. We did find some time in the evening to go to Wilmington, the Atlantic Ocean. That was nice. Very thankful that those two hurricanes are staying out in the Atlantic. They were heading towards Florida and the Carolinas there. Here we'll go by the Twin Anchors. We'll head down by the train tracks there. Yeah, here's this historic plaque here. Eugenie, St. Michael's. This guy that was Joseph J. O'Connell. He was with Alexander Graham Bell and Marconi there, early pioneer in the telephone industry here in Chicago. AT&T, Ma Bell. Oh, Ma Bell. McCrae's tuning in there. Hey, Eddie Mott. Yeah, we got upper 60s. It's not too bad. We got spectacular weather. We got the forecast for the whole week. Remember, I always say I like September weather the most, even the end of September. We've been having summer-like weather. Now, the lake's starting to cool down here. Here's the Twin Anchors. Nice rib joint here. Sedgwick and Eugenie here, southern end of Lincoln Park, the Old Town Triangle. We're going to head over towards North Avenue. We'll go towards the Sedgwick stop on the brown and purple line here. Heading to work here. There, scooting along. Very wind still this morning. I thought about heading to the lake, but we'll head to the lake later this week. We should get some nice sunrises. Hey, we're seeing Halloween decorations already. Hey, they got some nice gourds there. There's Ma and Pa sitting there on the porch there. Yeah, nice pumpkin there. How you doing there, skeletons? Nice workman's cottage here. Here's all the tiny skeletons crawling up the tree there. Look, they're riding a chicken. These skeletons are riding a chicken. So hey, we're gonna see more Halloween decorations as we go throughout the whole fall season here. See these workman cottages here. Yeah, Sedgwick and Concord. Man, McCrae, how you doing there? Carla, you put your Halloween decorations up. That's great. Yeah. So we're almost to North Avenue here, Concord Place, Sedgwick. Hey, the birds are sitting on the lights there. Yeah, tiny skeletons. Tiny dancer in my head. Skeletons. Spooky skeletons. But hey, it's good to be back in Chicago. It's good to be getting my regular schedule here. So I missed the light here. We'll have to wait here at North Avenue. Oh, Jen was walking here last night. Yeah, Jen's been doing some great live streaming. She's been doing it later at night, which is good. I see her and Steve Lyon and Ernie, Overtime Seb, Nick, all the Chicago live streamers, Nia. I mean, thanks for streaming at night when I'm laying there on the couch. We're here at North Avenue at Sedgwick. Here's some nice buildings here. And here I hear the train coming there. There it is. There's the Brown line pulling into Sedgwick stop here, North and Sedgwick, Chicago. There's the old, that's the Dewey's. The Dewey's was a beer baron. There was his brewery, the Dewey's Brewery there. Jennifer Ushidi talks about that all the time here. We're at North Avenue. I think that's North Park and North. We're at Sedgwick and North here, just waiting across the street here. We got 7 seconds. Yeah, look at these nice. See, the buildings on the southern end of North Avenue, there's still some historic ones there. The train's pulling out. And north end, they tore them all down. They did infill housing. Tea Lime Tea Time. How you doing there? Tea Lime Tea Time. And we're across the North Avenue. We'll head under the train tracks here. Stop and shop. We'll go by the Zen Loft. The Dewey's house, yeah, that's a nice house there. You know which one we're talking about there in northern part of Lincoln Park there. Yeah, it's a nice beer baron's house. Here's the Pizza Pizza here. Pizza by the slice. Get some calzones under the L tracks here. Sedgwick stop on the purple brown lines here. Patty Crowley Apartments here. The Marshall Field Garden Apartments are right down there. There, the loop's due. Brown line heading towards the loop. We'll probably hear it coming through here. Yeah, May, how you doing there? May tuning in from England. That's great. Yeah. May, thanks for saying hello. Naya's tuning in there. So we're heading over to Orleans here, underneath the brown and purple line trains here. We're just past the Sedgwick stop here. There's some geese above us. Huh. You hear those geese? There's geese around here. There they go. Look at that. Right in formation. The geese flew above the tracks there. So here we'll head down Orleans Street here. Nah, favorite route here, yeah, because usually we get to see the train once or twice heading through here, around in the bend. We'll see if we hear it. We're kind of walking slower today than usual. For some reason, I got a really sore leg. And I think it has to do, we were doing a lot of site visits. I was going up and down steps. I think that's what did it. But we'll walk out of it here. We'll work it out. How you doing? There's some people under the L tracks there. I didn't notice them until I heard them talking, and they're paying attention to me because they see some guy walking down the street, talking into the phone there. So let's see if they heckle me. I literally didn't notice them until, you know, I'm like walking past them there, and they're like, look at this. Yuppie with the cell phone walking down the street here. But all quiet here on Orleans Street. Usually we hear the train going by. I guess because we just missed that train going through the station there. Maybe we might catch it once we get down towards Schiller here. But yeah, 65 degrees here in Chicago. Heading to work here. There we hear it. There it comes, right on cue. There comes the purple line. Heading around the bend there, so we'll get it going by here. Yeah, let's get over here. Be able to see it go by through the trees here. Purple line heading towards the loop there. Scenes of the city. Here comes the other way. Here comes the brown line. See, one train goes one way, one goes the other. Yeah. Yeah, they got the Chicago Cubs out there. Yeah. White. So they got these, they grow the shrubs out here. It always reminds me of the Monty Python. Do you want a shrubbery? Yeah, we'll come out here. Hear that trainer coming. It's rolling around the bend. I think we'll do our best Johnny Cash Here comes another train here. We might get to the alley by the time it goes by here. Hey, you want a shrubbery? Where's Sir Ulrich von Liechtenstein? There's the Marshall Field Guard Apartments over there. Yeah, we'll get the train going right by here. There, brown line there. So we're near Schiller and Orleans here. There's Sedgwick over there, Marshall Field Garden Apartments. There, we're 1405 North Orleans in Chicago. We got about 7, what time is it here? 7:14 in the a.m. here, Schiller, Orleans. Heading to work here on Monday. Yeah, sometimes the train takes a while. Here, we'll get the train coming by. Yeah, there was the Sears Tower. Here it is here. Yeah. Scenes of the city here, North Park and Schiller, backside of Old Town. Folsom Prison, yeah. Well, we'll see what it looks like once we get to Michigan Avenue. I saw that there was a bunch of armed, militarized people on the news yesterday. Of course, I was laying on the couch, so we'll see what it looks like this morning. I have no idea what to expect. I've been out of Chicago for a week. Nothing was going on last week. I know people were really interested. I know there's the suburban ICE facility, a lot of protests going on over there. We'll stay away from it because of what happened in Dallas. Here's the Cook School, Catherine Cook School here. We're on Schiller Street. I'm just walking to work here. I work down on Michigan Avenue, so we'll get over there eventually. Here you hear that train coming? I'm kind of limping along here. Yeah, I'm walking. They're over by Cicero, yeah. Yeah, there's that on the west side there. Right here, we're at Wheeling and Schiller. We're up by Old Town here, by the Catherine Cook School. We'll go by Wells and Schiller here, center of Old Town. Yeah, they painted over the J.C. Rivera murals here. Broken English Taco Pubs shut down this location. Yeah, most of the time I walked. I've been doing this in some form, either by taking a bike or taking the train. I don't have a car. I do work from home sometime, but I do majority of the time work from the office. I got a nice view from the office there. It motivates me to get out of the house and get something done, and then we get to walk around at lunchtime. Otherwise, I'd just be stuck in Lincoln Park all the time. Here's Third Coast Stitches here. We made it back to Wells Street. I do walk in the same pattern here, so I don't. I'm always showing the touristy side of the city. I know that's where I live here, so I pay the high rent. Here we'll go by Orso's Italian Restaurante here. Orso's. We're still on Schiller here. We'll head over to the Gold Coast. But hey, yeah, we're heading towards Michigan Avenue Monday morning here. Yeah, it surprised me. So I first noticed that being closed 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago on a Monday. So I was out of town the first 2 weeks of September. It could have closed down even in the beginning of September. I was at my father's for 2 weeks, and that's when it was still up in August as far as I noticed. At least the mural. I don't know if the restaurant was still going. That was, yeah. Here's the nice housing here on Schiller here, Old Town. Yeah, Mamacita, how you doing there? Good morning. How you doing? Hey, yeah, I remember you. How you doing? What a beautiful morning. Yeah, thanks for saying hello. Yeah, see, they're sitting up there on their porch there. What a beautiful morning to be out and enjoying the 65-degree weather here. So here, we just missed the light. So we'll head down another block here. We'll walk along LaSalle Street here. There's some nice housing. Get the view to the John Hancock over there. Marshallfield, or the Sandburg Village here. Yeah, Jones tuning in there. Astro, how you doing there? Yeah, they painted. Can you believe that, Tara? You know, that's why I would always film that. JC Rivera. I think JC Rivera tunes in sometimes. I think he still lives here in Chicago. Here's, yeah, we're on LaSalle Street here. Yeah, nothing lasts. That's why we document all this stuff. Look at this housing underneath the trees. LaSalle Street, even LaSalle Street still has beautiful housing here, at least on the west side of the street. The east side, it's all been torn down when they widened the street over 100 years ago, and then they later built Sandburg Terrace there. And they got this nice housing. Look at the, see Better Homes and Gardens. Look at that pumpkin display going up the stoop there. And then we got some modern buildings here. But this is LaSalle Street. Still the edge of the Gold Coast, or the we're in between where the Gold Coast begins and the Old Town ends here, 1330. We're back, Pete. How you doing there? Yeah, Landy T and May. Everybody saying hello. We're getting the whole gang back together. Yeah, that's one positive comment we get. We got clean streets. We do have street sweepers, and you know, there's a few things, leaves and some garbage there on the sidewalk, but not too bad here. There's a nice housing on LaSalle Street. Yeah, I think we got in the back of some of these buildings on the, no, that was a block north of here. That was a block north here. These are equally as nice. See how they added a floor to the top of this one? Get the Italianate with the modern floor at the top. Actually, they built on top and leaned it over there. Look at that. Here's the hamster bubble windows. You always wanted a bubble window, right? Get in that bubble window and look out. There you go. A bubble window. A hamster house. Yeah, Frederick, we're back. Yeah, it costs a lot to live around here, I know. Hey, we got to walk here. So here, we'll cross LaSalle Street. And you can look all the way down to the Board of Trade. Sometimes it's hard to see with the trees there. There it is. You can see all the way to the Board of Trade. LaSalle Street. First, St. Paul's Evangelical Lutheran Church here. We'll head over to Clark Street. How can people live here? Yeah. There's a lot of dogs that live here too. See, the pet blessings and adoptions. There you go. Yeah, there's people walking the dogs right there. You'll probably see people walking the dogs later today. When you get back to Washington Square Park. This is the Carl Sandburg Village here. Snacker Wheat. City of Big Shoulders. Yeah, Clark Street. Yeah, it's a nice, friendly city. Positive, negatives. You know, there's crime, but there's friendly people too. The duality of man. That's the hardest thing for all of us to deal with. How we have such capacity for people helping each other out, and such capacity for human cruelty. Here we're crossing Clark Street here. Sutton Place. And Carl Sandburg Village here. Beekman Place. Yeah, let's head over to Dearborn here. Yeah, there's a Beekman Place in New York. You're right. See, we have like an Astor Street, even though John Jacob Astor never came to Chicago. I think he just invested in Chicago real estate. But here, Beekman Place, yeah. We went back there on the Dearborn Garden Walk. The security let us back there that day because we paid. Here's the side of the Arts Club here. The RH Furniture. But hey, we're heading to work here on a Monday. Got to go to work. What a bummer. "12 years ago." Hey, thanks for checking in here. Yeah, you know, you're free to move about the country. A lot of people live here a while, move out. You know, come here after college and get married, move out to the suburbs, and it's understandable. Go to other areas of the country, better climate. I stay here because, you know, I grew up in the Midwest in Indiana, and I still drive to my father's place, and Midwest is okay with me. The cold weather doesn't bother me as much as other people. It does get dreary, kind of gloomy, you know. By March and April, you're tired of it, but it's nice in December. December, it's actually not too bad. Goes with the seasons there. But here's, yeah, let's cross here, Dearborn Street, Gold Coast of Chicago. And they got bike lanes here. The Clare Ridge House, this hotel. Nice brownstones and gray stones and expensive millionaire housing of the Gold Coast there. Better Homes and Gardens. You see the mums there. Look at that lush front yard here. There's where Ernest Hemingway lived on the 4th floor. His first wife, Adley Richardson. That's where they lived back in the 1910s. Only briefly before they went to Europe. There it is. Ernest Hemingway lives here. 1239 North Dearborn, Chicago. There's the Cabot House there. Some of the housing there. The Packers into the tie. But Chris, how about the Bears eking out a victory there over the Las Vegas Raiders? Raiders tried to win it last second with a field goal attempt. The Bears blocked it there. Blackman blocked it. They call him Blockman now. Blackman. But yeah, the Packers, I didn't even watch that game. I'm kind of burnt out on the NFL, but you know why that is. Yeah, we're back. Prince, thanks for tuning in there. Thanks for tuning in here to YouTube. Heading to work here. Yeah, I guess we're getting close to 7:30, right? I got to wear a watch here because, yeah, 7:28. But here we're down to Dearborn and Division here. Heading to work on a Monday. Oh, mothers. Yeah, they got the flags out here. There's the Oktoberfest going on. Cowboys won. There you go. Yeah, the Bears game was interesting. Yeah, I'm glad you saw it there. Here, let's head across the street here because we got the sun. There's your morning sun there. So we're crossing Division Street. We'll head over to Rush here. Hey, there's Mother's, Bush McGuire, Shenanigans. Space available. Hey, they got the Oktoberfest flags out there. Yeah. Here's the lodge. Hopsmith. Yeah, we got the same time. No, you're an hour ahead of us in Toledo there. Yeah, you're in the Eastern time zone. We're in the Central time zone here in Chicago. Yeah, we got 7:30-ish. Pizza by the slice. There you go, the Primary. Gold Coast Social. Got the nice plants out here. Yeah, let's head down Rush Street. Packers and Cowboys both lost. New Jersey. Thanks, John. Thanks for subscribing there. Appreciate it. That's nice there. D. Michaels. Steelers won. Yeah, John, thanks for watching there. Appreciate it. Yeah, we usually do this. You know, I usually stream on TikTok, but TikTok kicked me out of the Creator Fund here, so that's not the only reason. Hey, there's people waiting at Blue Mercury here. We're on State Street here. Red Line subways underneath us here. Oh, there's a window boarded up. Wonder what happened there. Here, Elm Street, State, Rush Street's about to break off here. There's the Hangy-Uppy. Hey, still riding motorcycles. Yeah. Originally from the South Side, live in Alabama. That's great. People free to move about the country there. Our old friend Bob, he grew up in Chicago suburbs. He lives in Georgia. We had some people up visiting Chicago from Alabama. They gave me a hug. It was great. Here's Lou Malnati's. We're on State Street here. We're almost there. Look at that nice view. You get to the John Hancock there, 900 North Michigan. This is where Rush Street breaks off from State Street, Mariana Park, Lou Malnati's. Get your Chicago style pizza here. We got about mid-60s here. We're supposed to get up to 80 degrees today. It looks like a nice sunny day. Just walking to work here. So it looks like they got Carmine's all ready to go, but I still haven't seen people eating up there. Here's the Viceroy Somerset. Used to be the Cactus. Yeah, let's head across the street here. We'll head through Mariana Park in the morning here. We'll go by Gibson's. But yeah, Carmine's is supposed to open here pretty soon. And it's all ready to go there. They got the, they can close that even in the wintertime, I think, the upstairs. From here, we'll cross here at Cedar and State and Rush here. There's State Street looking south. There's that nice view of the John Hancock. 900 North Michigan, Mariana Park. Got the corn in the city. Yeah, Taxman. Yeah, here comes the Taxman. Like the Beatles song. Hey, it's the Taxman. It's 1 for you and 19 for me. I'm the Taxman. Here, Mariana Park here. You got the fountain. At least the fountain's still on. Seems like they just turned this thing on here. Here's the Mariana Park. Chicago, Illinois here. Rush Street breaks off from State here. Right at Bellevue. You can see some nice people say hello here. There's the smoothies there, Bellevue. Rush Street. Yeah, Tavern on Rush, Thompson Hotel. Gibson Steak and Fish. They're always cleaning out the sewer over there. There's Gibson Steak and Fish. Already Frank Sinatra way there. Greg, how you doing there, Elder? No, there's not a lot of vehicle traffic. Yeah, you know, it's pretty quiet on a Monday morning. You know, let's see what it looks like once we get to Michigan Avenue. But yeah, it's pretty quiet here in the morning. Here, we'll go by. Here goes Frog Bar here. Yeah, Sarah, how you doing there? Elder. Yeah, the Viagra Triangle, that's what they call this. You're right, McRae. How you doing there? Hope you had a good weekend. Thanks everybody for tuning in here. Yeah, so we'll get back into our regularly scheduled broadcasting routine here. At least that's the plan. Morning, noon, and night. YouTube all the time. Makes it easy. So here, Rush and Oak Street. Cartier, Hermes, Prada. Yeah, we'll head down past the Waldorf Astoria here in Chicago. So there's all the high-end fashion shops. Oak Street's a Rodeo Drive. We'll head down this way. We go past the water tower. Yeah, Hermes has some nice window displays here. Leon Russell. Kelly, how you doing there? DeKalb County, yeah, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in there. I know where DeKalb County is there. Northern Illinois University, right? Somewhere around there. Here we'll head past Brunello Cucinelli here, Versace, Dior. I think Leah Hazel has a dog. Her dog's named Dior. We got to meet her dog there one time on the Riverwalk. That was nice. There we'll cross here at Walton and Rush. Oh, there's some cars coming here. So the Waldorf Astoria is the bottom. They got housing at the top here. Of course, the real Waldorf Astoria is in New York. We're in Chicago. We're just crossing Walton and Rush. If you look down Wabash, there's an interesting view to the Trump Tower from we're north looking south here. So you can look straight down Wabash there. Am I crooked? Crooked. There we go. Get the camera straight. Go by Aritzia. They got the cats with the wings. Flying cats. That's just what we need, flying cats. Imagine if cats could fly. There's somebody walking their cat. There's somebody walking their cat right there. They went behind the car. Huh. Yeah. That's the amazing thing, you know, we got literally thousands of channels you can watch, you know, and people, you're free to change the channel. You know, if it's bothering you, you don't change the channel, it's your own fault. Here's the Rush and Wabash. Let me pan out here. There we go. Here's Chicago. We just passed the Tesla store here. There's the John Hancock, 875 North Michigan. And we'll head down past the Rivian store. This is Connor's Park here. Cats don't need wings, I know. They got 9 lives. They can survive falls that we couldn't survive. You know, the Wizard of Oz had the flying monkeys. That's what we need is flying cats. The Bristol garage entrance. But here, we'll go by the Quigley Center here. What time we got here? We're getting probably closer to 8 o'clock here. What time we got here? 7:39. We got 20 minutes. There's get your Rivian all painted there. Chestnut and Rush Street here. The honorary Mike Dick away. Hey, look at these stickers. People get, what does it all mean? I don't know. Here, we'll go past the Quigley Center here. Chestnut and Rush here. Honorary Mike Dick away. Mike Dick had his restaurant right down there on Chestnut. There's a statue to Archbishop Quigley there. The seminary here. Across from the Lamborghini Gold Coast. We're almost to the water tower. We just walked down Michigan Avenue Monday morning here, Chicago, Illinois. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, so far I haven't seen any armed guards. I see a few homeless people. Yeah, Lauren, how you doing there? You have a talking witch kitty? Yeah. 420 somewhere. How you doing there? Yeah. It's always 420 somewhere. Yeah, look at the round window here, the Quigley Center. Friendly Gold Coast here. Yeah, people heading to the hospitals. Shift change. Hey, let's see how the water tower's looking in the morning here. We got beautiful sunshine here, 65 degrees. Look to get to about 80 degrees here in Chicago. Yeah, look at that beautiful windows, Gothic. Yeah, Loyola University. Lady T, hey, thanks for the cup there. Thanks for the cup of Frappuccino. That's nice. See, the YouTube, we're using the YouTube app. So, like Michael Anderson and other people said, there's you can change the resolution. If it's blurry there's a widget there. You can up the resolution there, and I saw that graphic there. So thanks, Lady T, for the gifts there. All you have to do is double tap the screen once, give a thumbs up if you like this content. It allows more people. You don't have to sit there and tap the screen the whole time like TikTok. And they got a split screen function. It's probably soon enough. Somebody will probably want to join the live, but for now I'm enjoying the not being interrupted every 5 minutes by somebody wanting to join the live. Positive, negatives, everything. Hey, we're back to the water tower. We made it. So hey, we're back in Chicago. Water tower here, walking to work on a Monday. Got about 65 degrees here, but past we're getting close to 7:45 in the AM. Here's the Forest water fountain here. Yeah, they got a nice regular fountain here. And here's the water tower. Chicago survived the 1871 Great Chicago Fire here, Jane Byrne Plaza. And there you see the John Hancock, 875 North Michigan. Hey, there's a few more people here on Michigan Avenue. Yeah, I don't know what so we'll see if we see any more down towards the river in Millennium Park. I saw on the news yesterday there were a show of force, some military style weapons were seen guarding Michigan Avenue, and I didn't know what to expect this morning. So far I don't see anything here. We'll see what happens. This is live here. We're at Chicago and Michigan Avenue. There's the water tower. We're live here on YouTube here. 7:43 in the AM here. September the 29th, 2025. We'll go past the Chicago Avenue here. Michigan. We're on Michigan Avenue, heading south here. We're heading towards the river. National Coffee Day. Yeah, we'll go by the Starbucks. We'll see if they're doing anything for National Coffee Day there. Yeah, Ralph's Coffee. Ralph Lauren even has a coffee shop there. There, Hoka. Go up to Hoka here. Michigan Avenue. Hey, they got the mums out. Mum's the word here. Got some nice fall displays here. In front of Victoria's Secrets here. Neiman Marcus across the way. Yeah, Osaka, Japan's our sister city. I think they have something to do with this display here. There, get your pink clothes there. You gonna have a second cup? Yeah, have a second cup of coffee. Happy National Coffee Day. We'll see if they're doing anything at the giant Starbucks there. We'll go right by it here. Allerton Tip Top Temp. There, Tiffany. Breakfast at Tiffany's here. Superior, Michigan. We got the light. There's the one Chicago Tower. It's looking west on Superior on Michigan Avenue. Geno's East is that way. Olympia Center, Michigan Avenue, here's Saks Fifth Avenue. Hey, there's me. We'll go by the Harry Potter store here. Yeah, all in bloom. See, they're getting ready to change this for the fall display here. We should probably see more mums and stuff. There's Chicago Fashion Week, October 9th through 19th, so Chicago Fashion Week's coming up. I don't know what the events are. Maybe we can get across the street here where the light changes here at Erie. No, this is Huron. This is Huron, Michigan Avenue. We'll get across the street after this car here. There, Harry Potter here, Michigan Avenue. Get your butterbeer. We'll cross in here, going to the hospitals. There's your Patronus Stag, Harry Potter store here in Chicago. Of course, there's one in London. There's one in New York City. This is the Harry Potter store in Chicago. Get your magic wand. They updated the window displays there. Back to Hogwarts, back to school. There's your fall pumpkin display there. Hey, we got bales of hay. We got shots of corn. Yeah, we need to go to the Fall Fest there in Lincoln Park Zoo. It'll go on all month there. We'll check out Fall Fest. Bali, how you doing there? Yeah. I grew up in Southeast Indiana. I grew up in the country. I lived in Chicago for over 26 years. I moved here in 1999, so I've lived here for over half my life. I'm a country boy that moved to the city. I'm not a native Chicago, and I know that's what most people are asking there. But hey, I grew up in the Midwest at least. Here's the Starbucks. So what is it? National Coffee Day. They're always got something to promote whatever product there. Like we need that. There's giant Starbucks. Yeah. They're getting the garbage there. It smells like garbage. There, Michigan Avenue, mum's the word here. Yeah, there's a bunch of people in there already. I don't know if they're running any specials or anything. Yeah, the rain, how you doing there? Yeah. Naya papaya. Hey, here's the mums here. See, they're installing the mums here. They're putting in the fall display right here. Yeah.
It's white.
Yeah, you got some nice flowers there, mums. Yeah. Mum's the word. Yeah, I got to get a $100 pumpkin. That's how much they cost. Inflation. We were laughing at the pumpkin prices last year. So here's Ontario Street looking west. There's Ontario looking east. The RIU Hotel, Michigan Avenue. So I really expected to see, I saw in the news yesterday there were armed guards or military people with weapons here on Michigan Avenue. Maybe it was just a one-day thing. They just did it on the weekend. We'll see if we see anything in the river here. Hey, I love Chicago. Look at that cute little bear. Here's the bean. So we'll probably see the Bean at lunchtime. We'll do a lunchtime walk there on YouTube, noon to 1, and we'll go by the Bean. We haven't seen the Bean in a while. You're jonesing for Sabine there. $100 for a pumpkin. Marx Brothers, 4512 MLK. Yeah, we'll have to check that out. Thanks for the good info. Yeah, we've been there. We filmed Louis Armstrong House there on 44th Street, just off of MLK. We did the Bud Billiken parade. So we walked right through there. I didn't realize that was where they lived. That's thanks for the good info there. So much history all over the city. But here we're crossing here at Chicago Avenue. No, excuse me. We're at Ohio Avenue. Ohio Avenue, looking towards Chicago Avenue on Michigan Avenue. I know it's confusing. Yeah, we're at Ohio Street here. I was thinking about the Marx Brothers. Here, we'll wait for the left turns there. So La Katrina statue's still here. She's still there. Flores Mexicanos is gone. Yeah, I was fully expected to see armed guards here. We'll see what we see with the river here. I was too lazy to get off the couch here yesterday. There was Milwaukee Avenue. They shut down portions of Milwaukee Avenue to street traffic. You can walk through the streets there. They do that once a month now. I think they'll do it again in October. I wanted to go over to that, but I was just too lazy to do it. Literally, I was enjoying my weekend too much. Watching football there yesterday. But here, we're heading to work here. We're almost to work here on a Monday. Thanks everybody for tuning in here. Michigan Avenue, 7:50 in the AM. Thanks for tuning in here so early in the morning on YouTube here. We're almost to the Chicago River, Michigan Avenue. We're across from the Nordstrom here. It's good to be back. We're getting the swing of things here. We're starting to see Halloween decorations. So the whole month of October, we cut out reruns of our favorite Halloween decorations that we encounter, both for businesses and for private residences. At least the areas I usually walk through on my way to and from work here. And we do go to some other areas of the city. Here's some pumpkin displays in front of the Intercontinental Hotel here. They got a big brown pumpkin. They got some mums here. This used to be the Medina Athletic Association, of course. Michael Jordan's restaurant's in here. You streamed a couple of football games there, yeah. Yeah, Christopher's tuning in there. Yeah, check out Christopher Dotson there. Great live streamer from New York City. We got all the Chicago live streamers, including Ernesto, Chicago Nuggies there. Hey, look at the mums here. They got the fall display in front of Michael Jordan's restaurant here, Michigan Avenue. Intercontinental Hotel. There it is, Michael Jordan Steakhouse. Tomahawk Tuesday. I wonder what that is. Tommy the Hawk, mascot for the Chicago Blackhawks hockey team there. Hey, we made it to the beautiful vintage skyscrapers here by Chicago River here. That's a nice helmet there. Left turns. There we got the light. There's the Tribune Tower. And yeah, let's head across the river there. Renee, how you doing there? Yeah, so there's Illinois Street. There's the facade of the Intercontinental Hotel. Go down to Billy Goat's. So yeah, we'll do the Bean at lunchtime, and we'll go through the Loop, maybe the Riverwalk. I heard they're going to close down Lake Street Bridge for construction for 3 years, starting beginning of October. So we often walk across that bridge, so just like the State Street Bridge, we might be impacted by that for the next 3 years, but they always got to do maintenance on these vast scale bridges. We got the bridge lifts. Maybe there might be a bridge lift on Wednesday. I'm not for sure. They're starting it already. This is the front of the Tribune Tower here. Pioneer Plaza here, Chicago, Illinois. We got upper 60s. Beautiful morning here. Look at the vintage skyscrapers across the way. It's a Wacker Drive. You can go down the lower level there. This is the Wrigley building. And here, Museum of Ice Cream. Pioneer Plaza, they're setting up a tent, so maybe we'll see what this is at lunch. They got some event going on here. Yeah, Home Alone. Are you talking about John Hughes movies? Yeah, there's a lot of Chicago-based movies, especially in the 1980s and early 1990s that were filmed here, Uncle Buck. What is this? So, yeah, they're looks like they're setting up some pop-up flower shop here. We'll see what this is at lunchtime here, or I'll walk home from work. They got some pop-up shop they're setting up here on Pioneer Plaza by the Tribune. See, we're by the Apple store here. Hey, inline skating there. Hey, look at the Wrigley building's looking nice there. The Trump Tower behind it is Chicago, Illinois here. Happy Monday morning here, September the 29th, 2025. Beautiful upper 60s degrees here. We're going to get like 80 degrees. A lot of sunshine this week. So here we'll cross the Michigan Avenue Bridge here at Chicago River. Go by the John Baptiste Point DuSable statue here, or the bust. Joliet Marquette Native Americans on the bridge house there, John Baptiste Point DuSable. There, look at the sun hitting that. Hey, are you single? There it is. Look at that nice view. Michigan Avenue Bridge here. I feel like Bob Newhart crossing this bridge here. Yeah, Chicago River. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, yeah. All the good movies there. Blues Brothers, yeah. There's the sun. There's the Trump Tower. There's the Wrigley building. There's the London House, the Mather Tower behind it. 333 North Michigan there. So yeah, we'll head to work here. We'll see what's shaking. We'll come back on at noon. Take a nice little stroll through Millennium Park and the loop there. And thanks for tuning in on YouTube. We'll try to keep this whole pipeline. It's just, we'll be streaming YouTube. I'll still cut out reruns for TikTok, but not as much because they kicked me out of the Creator Fund. But we'll still let people know we still got a good community there. I don't want to alienate our TikTok community, but we'll be streaming on YouTube. And we'll be doing the shorts and everything here. It's the whole pipeline of content. The show that never ends here. As we head into the fall season, we'll have a lot of Halloween decorations. And then we'll head into the whole holiday season. Have more weather to show. So here, look at the nice Tribune Tower, Wrigley building here, Chicago River. Yeah, have a great day. Ernie, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, check out Ernie there, Chicago Nuggies there. Another Chicago live streamer there on TikTok and YouTube. Chris Gustafson's been live streaming as well on TikTok, I think. And with his dog Natalie there, that's great, going through the park for us. Very nice. Jennifer, you should eat. All our Chicago-based live streaming community. So yeah, we'll go to work here. We'll get back in the groove. Look at that nice view. You get to the Jewelers building there, that dome. Yeah, we'll do some more river walking there, Christopher. And yeah, Blackhawk season's about to start. Cubs are about to enter the postseason there. Start with the Padres there on Tuesday. I think it's a 2 p.m. game. I'm sure we'll be getting up to Wrigley as long as the Cubs can make a deep run into the playoffs this year. And the Bears beat the Raiders yesterday. It was a dramatic blocked field goal at the end of the game there. Bears eked out a victory there. Late comeback to go ahead there in the fourth quarter. And here we'll head down Michigan Avenue here. You see where we're at here? Wrigley Building. Look at that. And look at the Carbide and Carbon Building. Looks so nice in the morning. It's good to be back. Hey, Grim Evil's tuning in there. Martha Shaver's there. Arzu, how you doing there? Jay? It sounds like Pauly Shore. Are you a weasel? Make your little weasel Pauly Shore voice. I'll be back. You gotta talk like this. Pauly Shore or wheezing the juice, buddy. Here's South Water Street. Here's Michigan Avenue. Yeah, me and my brother-in-law, you know, we're old Gen X people, or they're almost millennials, but they forced my three nephews, his sons, to watch Encino Man, you know, the Pauly Shore movie, and they were like, who's this Pauly Shore guy? Why was he cool? You know, no one can answer that question. I think he went to like Beverly Hills High School with like Lenny Kravitz, so they just had like a bunch of famous parents, you know, and they were like the Brat Pack, like 2.0, you know. But here, thanks for tuning in. Thanks, my mods. We'll be back at lunch there. Thanks for watching here on YouTube. Hopefully, let me know if the stream worked okay, if you're able to watch it. Good resolution. The comments worked better. At least we still got the comments working there. It was never cool. It's like the Simpsons episode. They said which of these two popular Simpsons characters were in this episode? It was like, you know, one of the Treehouse of Horror, or where Maggie killed Mr. Burns, or that episode. And they were like, no, these characters were never popular. Here's the Wrigley Building. Carbide and Carbon. So hey, thanks mods, thanks everybody. We'll be back at lunchtime, and we'll see the bean, and we'll get to the Riverwalk. So have a great. I didn't see one armed guard. I was on the news there yesterday, so I don't know if that was just Sunday. We'll see if we see anything else here. But there's the Hazel Johnson mural to environmental social justice in the city there. Environmental justice. Have a good day. Thanks everybody. We'll see you in a little bit there. Yeah. See, it worked. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, everybody. Thanks a lot. All right, bye.